Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dear Van.
In today's episode, we don't have anything to discuss. We're pleased to come your way one more time. And at this point, I shouldn't even be going over the standard procedures, right? Standard operating procedures. You know exactly what to do. So go out there and share the feed. Let family and friends know that the guys are back. And let's do this. So let me do that. So we live. So yeah, go out there, share the feed. We live, and so today happens to be a rather odd episode. Um, I'm sure. Yeah, Prissy is as usual always in the lab working. I'm also in my lab, right? Yeah, also in my lab working. So it's we deciding to have fun. Prissy left the kids with me, and so we have fun when mommy is not around, right? And so basically, we embarking on some projects right behind me, and so thank you for joining. Let's get right into it now. Quick one, Prissy. I have a very quick question for you, and I think that you can better answer this. Should ladies have a mindset of, hey, I don't know what the future holds with a man. I don't know what the man will become in the future. Maybe the person looks all humble and all nice, but the guy ends up having money now, and it looks like the guy is all over the place, chasing women all over the place, blah blah blah. So, do you think it's a sound idea for people to think that, hey, whatever be the case, people will mess up, and so I should just go chase someone who can get me money, take care of me, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. Hey, Warren, good to have you. Yep.
I think it just depends on what the person is looking for in the marriage. So,
Okay.
the reason why people marry for so many reasons, some
Okay.
for companionship, some
Okay.
for financial stability,
Oh God.
some, yes. So, it all depends. It
Oh,
all depends on what you are looking for in the marriage.
so
Some people marry just to have offsprings. They feel that okay, when I marry and I'm able to have offspring, like for children and all that, so
okay.
they stay because of the kids. And so it all depends on the mindset with which you are going to the marriage with. Maybe you are not marrying for love, so you
Okay.
you want the money and not the love. So yeah.
I think you brought up a very, very profound trend of thought. So I, I have always thought that people marry for all that. You get what I mean? Like marry for companionship, marry for whatever. I mean, all that. But it looks like it might not necessarily be so. People could marry just for one out of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then if someone has married a man just because of money, right? Okay, what do you think will be the person's expectation when it comes to companionship, for example? So is it a case of, okay, it's because of your money I married you, and so so far as you're giving me the money, you can even be outside the home 365 days in a year, and I don't care so far as you can give me the money. Is that how it happens? It's
Yeah, I believe some women don't care. Like so long as you are bringing in the money, you are taking care of them, taking care of the kids. They don't have to bother about where the next meal is coming from. what they wear. They are okay.
Wow.
You can go room. They'll say when you go, you come back. So it all depends on the individual.
Wow. I mean, I'm still awed by what has just come up. So it presupposes that people shouldn't go into marriage assuming that their partner or their partner to be is actually looking out for all that marriage has to offer.
Yeah,
It could
so they have to discuss why they are getting married. Because some people also marry because, okay, I'm growing old, I need to get married and
okay.
have kids. So then whoever comes or whoever is available is who they go for. Not because that is their choice, you get it.
Yeah.
Some also because of, like I said, financial stability. Some also because of societal pressures. Um, there are some communities that maybe when you are past 20, they'll start um,
Put
saying,
pressure on you to
yeah, and start calling you names and all that.
okay.
So like you are
Okay.
pressured.
Okay.
Yes. So and I believe it is not also everybody that is supposed to get married, but because of
Right.
such things, people force and get married.
Okay, so now Sami asks a question here, but I would add to the question and then put it across to you. So he's saying, how do you navigate conflicts or disagreement with others, especially when emotions are involved? So in this same context, okay, if a lady married a man because of money, or a man married a lady because of money, okay, and for example, the lady or the guy, or whichever partner has the money, is not providing, for example, companionship, right? That, do you think it should lead to conflict because that wasn't part of the original arrangement? You get what I mean? So let's say that you go chase someone because of money, and the person is giving you all the money. Should there be an issue then if you now got into the marriage and you realize that, oh, but other married people have this as well, like they have
Yeah.
companionship, they are together, they are doing stuff, they should there then be any reason for conflict? Because hey, the beginning, I mean, whatever the, let's call it your prenups was, it's all about money. And so should there be conflict then?
Yeah. So the nature of humans, the way the way we have been created,
Okay.
like I'll say it is very difficult for humans to be content with maybe whatever they before they
Okay.
wished for.
Okay.
So maybe you were striving to get something, and then you
Right.
got the thing, and then later on it becomes normal, and then you want to strive for something else.
Okay.
And so that is how the human nature is. So if initially you went in for money, and then along the line you fell in love, or you felt that you needed companionship, then it comes and that's an additional need you want. And
Okay.
so yeah, conflicts can arise because the needs of humans change with time. Like it can.
So in that case, why then would people want to narrow down on what really makes marriage tick for them? You get what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it,
and
it
people also believe that you can how do you call it? You can marry somebody you don't love, but you can grow to love the person. So yeah, so
and
that's the mindset of some people.
is that not a problem, right? Because so let's say that again, I don't know why money is a big deal, but it's always, I mean,
Yeah,
a big deal.
it always is.
So you marry someone you don't love just because the person has money.
Mm-hmm.
You go in, you realize that, oh, it's not all about money. You get what I mean? And then all of a sudden you discover that you should actually be attached to the person in a way emotionally. You should be attached to the person to I mean, at that point, what does the person do, right? So I really think that it would be a false balance, sort of, to just have something in mind as this is what I'm looking for. Now, I mean, I have a lot of discussion in the office, discussions in the office pertaining to marriage and stuff, talk to people, relationships, right? And something came up, right? Someone told me that I want a man of this particular religion, okay? Then immediately as usual, my antennas go off. And I go like, hey, are you looking for someone who would care for you, someone you can build a life with, or all you are looking for is someone of this particular religion? You get what I mean? Because that would be like, okay, this is your topmost priority. And so what happens if that you get that, but you realize that that's not all you need in a relationship, right? Or in a marriage. It should be like you should go out there looking for a holistic partner, right? Someone who a 360 sort of partner. It shouldn't be that, hey, it's just this, and then you go in and you realize that, oh, you needed this as well, and something comes to mind. Hey, Sharon, good to have you. Paul, good to have you. So an analogy comes to mind. Okay, I mean, for those wondering, this an interesting, exciting project I've taken up with the kids. We're trying to finish out our basement, and that's what we're doing now. This analogy comes to mind. Say I wanted to do this. I go out there, I bought tools, I bought lumber, blah, blah, blah. If I thought that the only thing I would be needing for this project would be, say, a circular saw, right? Or a nailing gun, and nothing else. And I had to travel here. There is nowhere to access another store again. I'll get here and realize that, oh, I messed up, right? I think that when people go out there to look out for a partner, they should have sort of a 360 view. Of course, there would be one or two things that would be top of the list, right? It should, and if you really ask me what should be on top of the list, I think that you need someone with a very good character, right? I mean, regardless of the person's financial standing, because you can always work things out. You can always work on getting to a certain financial status, right? If you go out there and get someone who has lived his whole 20 something years or 30 something years with a very bad character, I wonder how that is going to change. And you realize that that was maybe what should have been your priority, right? And so again, it's difficult for me to really understand some women who go out there and say, hey, I'm not saying you should go marry a pauper, right? I'm not saying you should go marry whatever. But all I'm saying is people place too much emphasis on someone with money, which really doesn't make sense to me, right? It's my mind tells me if you have someone who is really understanding and you can organize something small and keep your life happy, it is better than to get into the complicated world of saying that you want to marry someone who is rich or someone who has a lot of money, and you realize that at the end of the day, the person can't fulfill all other needs, right? Prissy, I throw it back to you if you have something to.
Yeah, that is true. But even if you
But
are
yeah,
marrying,
I like the but part. Yeah. So but
you are
yeah,
marrying someone who is
yeah,
not wealthy, or like
yeah. Hmm.
at least the person should be at a place where both of you are capable of taking care of like each other in the marriage.
Correct.
So like poor, when we say poor, we also have like really bad, like nothing, the person is not working, and then you want to marry the person. I think the person should have a job at least.
Yeah,
If you are going
exactly.
to marry
Yeah,
someone, it doesn't mean that because you are saying don't focus on the rich. It
yeah,
means that go and marry somebody who doesn't have a job and is idle, doesn't do anything, and then
correct.
because you feel that the person has a good character and you love the person, you should go ahead and get married, because the financial bit also is important in sustaining the love. And so
Mm,
I believe that the person should also be capable of at least working, because I've seen occasions where people are married to men who are not working, and it's becomes sad. Like the marriage becomes sad, and sometimes
yeah,
people who are close to them are drawn into their issues.
okay.
Yeah. So if you are a relative or something of such people, you become either the witch or something worrying their marriage. Yeah, so
Oh,
I also believe that the person should be doing something, should be doing a job when God gave Eve to Adam, he had already given Adam work to do. So
okay.
yeah, the person should be working, then you can go and help.
I have a quick question. You see, this is why I really think, and again, I'm not saying that you should go out there marry someone who is not, who is lazing out there, not doing anything, blah blah blah. So I agree with you. You need to get someone who has focus, who is working, like who is doing something, right? Of course, because you need to sustain yourselves. But this is when my priority thing comes in, okay? Let's say that you marry someone who is working but has some nasty character or whatever, right? You see, the person could lose his or her job. And in fact, the kind of disposition the person has is what would determine if he would even run back looking for another job or would want to create something to earn money and so on and so forth, right? And in the same vein, someone who is not necessarily working has a good character. I'm not advocating for going to just marry someone because of the character. Hey, now I'm legal to have you. But all I'm saying is that if the person has a good character, okay, that would even be the reason why the person would not look at the wife or the children to be in a bad situation or a bad spot, and would always want to go out there and make ends meet. You get what I mean? I think that because this is what it really is. I might be thinking wrongly, right? But this is what it really is. Any fool can have money. A correct person can also have money.
Mhm.
But those two people will treat their families different when they have the money. You get what I mean? So that common denominator of money is there, but one determines how people go about treating their families, their spouses, and so on and so forth. You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
in terms of really what you should be looking out for, money is important. I agree, but it goes beyond that. Nalamle says I agree with you, Prissy. Yeah, so Nalamle clearly doesn't agree with me. Yeah, but I really think that money shouldn't be really up there in terms of the pecking order. I mean, or in terms of the list of priorities, right? I mean, I might sound quite
So
yeah,
the,
mhm,
the issues people have had, like
yeah,
marrying people who didn't have money,
okay,
and maybe later on in their marriage they had
yeah,
money, that
yeah,
their attitudes changed. For
okay.
me, I believe that every poor person is humble. So, and
That might be
usually they have
debatable.
very
Yeah.
nice
Okay.
character when they are poor. So I think this is the disposition of a lot of women, that
Okay.
okay, I don't know how the person would become when the person becomes how the attitude will be when the person becomes rich.
Okay.
So if I have a rich person who already has a good character, then I know that the risk is less. So they would
Okay.
rather go for, because
Okay.
you see people's attitude or their character when money controls some people. So
Right.
they rather go for the rich with a good character, because that is
Okay.
less risky than going with somebody who is poor and seemingly humble, and then
Okay.
later becomes rich and then changes.
Right.
So I think that those, based on people's experiences, that is
Mhm.
why a lot of women nowadays are focusing on, okay, I don't want to go and start with Debi Debi Ebeyeye, and then when it gets good, the person changes all of a sudden.
Okay.
So I think that I don't blame. For me, I don't want to blame the women per se, because sometimes
Okay.
they do that based of like other people's experiences. So if the men or those people who had potential or
Yeah.
all that will still stick to their good character when they have they start making it in life, I think
Right.
most women would want to engage or get married to people who are like up and coming and all
Is
that.
this, yeah, is this not the mindset that is causing a lot of people to, as it were, bounce a lot of men, and then and then later in life you see that, oh, but this guy is now doing so well, right? Because the truth is that how many rich people are there? How many rich people out there are not in a relationship? How many rich people out there are not married? And
Yeah.
so, with that particular mindset, then people would wait forever, right? Because people come around and you go like, oh, see the shoes you're wearing, see the dress you're wearing, you're not my type, you're not. And you end up leaving very good people to the wind. You get what I
Yeah.
mean? So I get it that you wouldn't want to go out there with people who you have a high risk profile, right? You you don't know what to expect. But the truth is, sometimes, okay, or most of the time, if you, the lady, is also an industrious person, right? You can help the man. I mean, build up the man or something. Something you can do
Yeah, so
stuff.
that is not their problem. They can help build,
Yeah.
but they cannot guarantee that after they have built the person. So I think the men should also change their attitude when
Okay.
they start. It's a two-way thing. So I think that
Yeah.
now women are becoming like more money conscious because of the way a lot of they've seen a lot of men get money, and then they now start looking for their when people don't have money, they go for who is available, but when they start
Okay.
having money, now they know their type,
They
sort
improve
of.
their standard.
Yeah, so if the men will change, because I
Yeah.
believe it's like an evolutionary thing. So
Okay.
as the men are evolving, the women are also evolving. So if
Mhm.
they will change, they will stick to how they were. And I'm sure a lot of women will see good examples of people who have grown together in their marriage. They started from nowhere and they are
Right.
still together
Right.
when they made it.
Right.
A lot of women will go for men who have the potential, but
Yeah.
then yeah, we can preach it and all that, but they need to see examples. The young people and upcoming, they need to see examples in the community or the
Right.
society we are in. But if they
Okay.
don't see it, as they are evolving, they are also evolving. So they are seeing trends of men making it and leaving the people they started with, and so
Okay.
they too will not want to be um going through the same thing. So it's more or less like what they see.
Okay. Now I would come to what you just said, but hey, Comfort, good to have you. Courage, good to have you. Courage is saying that nothing is guaranteed, so everyone must look sharp. So now this is what I think, right? Um, Sometimes, like you said, in the society, the kind of examples people see, right? That is what urges them on. It spurs them on. It gives them something to look up to, right? But sometimes don't you think that we actually don't get the full picture, right? So let's say Mr. K and Mr. Kwa, right? Oh, sorry, Mrs. Kwa. I mean, they started very um, humbly, right? It's not like humble means poor, but they started from nowhere and they are doing so well. All of a sudden, it looks like their marriage is broken, or Mr. K is now, I mean, off doing his own thing, or Mrs. KY is doing her own thing. Sometimes I dare say that we don't get the full picture. People would immediately put it in a bracket that, oh, this guy was with this lady when they didn't have money, but all of a sudden he had money and left without necessarily knowing the full story. You get what I mean? So sometimes I feel like we might be peddling half big truths. We form our own truth out of a story and we start peddling it, right? But it is, I always say that, oh no, maybe physics says that action and reaction are equal and opposite, right?
Yeah.
In reality, sometimes you wouldn't know what exactly has gone on, right? Maybe for all you know, the woman also got a change in attitude or something. I mean, we can't be really sure. So it shouldn't be like a master or blanket statement that, oh, and when women help men to gain their grounding and all, then they leave them and all. I think that's also quite unfair. Okay, so Sami says that, how do you oh, okay. I think Sammy is saying something else, right? Yeah. So sometimes we'll need to really put context to the
Yes,
stories, right?
unless maybe those who get divorced will come out and publish reasons why.
Exactly.
Otherwise, nobody will know. So we
Personally,
base
yeah. No, Prissy.
our
So
opinions on what we see. We cannot know it or see it all. So
exactly,
so
exactly.
we
That
would
is
base
why.
it on the trend. So is
No,
this trend
no.
working? So like you said, they have a reason. They might have a reason, but it is a trend we are seeing. So we are basing it on the trend. Is it
So
working?
so
If it's not working, I wouldn't want to join that wagon. Like I want to also take a different turn.
okay.
So
So quick question.
that
Quick
is
question.
what.
Is the trend of also saying I'm looking for Mr. Rich also working? If it's not working,
Yeah,
why not change it? We are basing it on trends, right?
yeah,
Statistics, right?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because and I know, I'm sure we if we bring a lot of ladies on here, they would tell us their story. Someone maybe approached them, they no, you're not my type. Someone approached them, no, you can't even buy my shoes. And today they regret it. You get what I mean? That trend is also not helping, right? So yeah, I mean, now you mentioned something about, yeah, it's best to speak to people who are divorced or blah blah blah, separated. And personally, I think the best people I like speaking to are people in such situations, right? Because it helps you get perspectives that otherwise you wouldn't be exposed to. You actually get a lot of perspective you will be so surprised about, and these are real things, right? And so if I had my way, I would only be interviewing divorcees on the Evan, because that is when we can actually learn. When things have gone wrong, that is when we can actually learn. Okay, so I think the things Sami is sharing, the topics for the road trip, right? So if you are out there, the road trip is about to happen. If you have topics, put them on the chat, send them to our inbox, and then we'll discuss them on the road trip. Like I said, it's going to be a very long road trip, very very long road trip, and so we'll need so many topics to be discussing over maybe 30 to 40 hours of driving. And so we'll be discussing a lot of these topics. All too soon, we've come to the end of another episode, and it's been great having you. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for all your contributions. And we always look forward to be with you. Now, just in case you want to see what we are doing with this project, our do-it-yourself basement finishing project, you can comment in the comment section as well, and then maybe we'll do an episode on that, because it's super exciting. I mean, it was just an empty space, and had to go get permits and so on and so forth, and we've been doing a great job here. So I've turned all the kids into weekend warriors, and they help me do all this. I'm sure their mom will not be happy they become weekend warriors. Anyway, but yeah, it's super exciting. Let me know if you want to have more details about this, and we'll share it with you. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dear Van. Always remember that no two relationships are the same. Thank you. Cheers and bye for now.
Bye.